Hello, everybody, and welcome to Norm, the Cheers podcast. That is not. I am Mike. That's Tookie. That's Dave. Here is the place where every week we celebrate the greatest live action sitcom of all time, which is Cheers. And we do this after about 15 wasted minutes as a general rule. Great to have you all here. I'm very excited to get into this week's episode, though. I really love this week's episode.
This
It's
was an all-timer, I thought. Like, just a
Yes.
Yeah, it
great
was great.
episode, top to bottom.
It was. Let's see if Frasier can carry an episode. He totally did. It's hey, is that future Oscar nominee Jennifer Tilly jumping in here as Candy,
And killing it.
crushing it?
I mean,
Honestly, when does Jennifer Tilly not crush it?
yeah,
Phenomenal.
incredible career, incredible poker player. Love
Yep.
everything about Jennifer Tilly.
I've heard
World
that
Series of
about
Poker
her.
champion. Yes,
Yeah.
she won the ladies event for a bracelet a while back.
Nice.
Yep. Although then she has since made it recreational again. She was a pro for a while and then officially gave that up with the acknowledgement that, okay, yeah, you don't get validation in poker the way that you want. And she's just too talented to not be in front of the camera. Yep.
Yep.
Did not. Yeah.
I don't want anything distracting the world from more Jennifer Tilly screen appearances.
No, so good and so much fun in the 80s, just popping into stuff. She had an incredible cameo in The Fabulous Baker Boys, one of my favorite movies of all time. Tookie, that was a Tookie needs to see this movie look.
I don't know that one. Yeah.
Pretty great. Jeff and Beau Bridges
The Bridges Boys.
Ooh.
with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ooh.
Unbelievable. Really great movie.
Pre-Catwoman, I presume.
Pre-Catwoman, yes.
Wow.
This was, I want to say, 88, 89, right around there. So Michelle Pfeiffer was Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, she was a big deal. She had not done Batman yet, though.
Mhm. But
Yeah.
she'd done Scarface.
Yeah. And
Okay.
she was incendiary in The Fabulous Baker Boys. Unbelievable. Like, Jeff Bridges is peak Jeff Bridges. Him and Beau together are so great.
Great Beau Bridges movie. Like,
Oh,
I
so
couldn't
good.
name another Beau Bridges movie off the top of my head, but terrific in that film.
Amazing. Yeah, it's just great. And bringing their real life experience to it. Although apparently, I mean, they bicker and feud a bit in this movie. And by all accounts, they really adore each other off screen. And we're dying to do this film together. But in that sense of Jeff Bridges is has always been the stud leading man, and Beau has been the character actor, and that very much is reflected in the movie. It's really great. It's an interesting movie about just being a working performer in a city. So I mean, there are definite, stand-up comedian in Boston vibes watching these two piano playing brothers, and what success is. What is getting by, what is selling out. Really, really good. Really good. So Fabulous Baker Boys, my recommendation. But let's delve into this week. Dave, what was happening when Jennifer Tilly, I'm sorry, Jennifer Connelly. I just saw Top Gun Maverick again. She's on my brain. When Jen Tilly came in and dazzled us all.
This premiered on Thursday, February 6th, 1986. The same night, halfway around the globe, Corazon Aquino was winning the presidential election by the numbers in the Philippines. There was a lot, of course, under the Marcos regime that was obfuscated, followed by a long period of pretty peaceful protests and an eventual recognition of the Aquino government and a transformation of the Philippines. Not without its rocky periods under Aquino, but certainly you'd have to say an improvement over the Marcos regime, which had, I think, endured for about 20 years at that point. But in interesting Boston, I remember this being covered so kind of head to toe in Boston at the time, or in the Boston News, and I didn't put it together that Aquino and her husband, who was assassinated upon their return to the Philippines, who was a politician, they had lived in Boston for 3 years when he had initially fled the Marcos regime, and was kind of like a notable political exile, and Boston citizen. So
Wow.
I didn't realize that's why the coverage was so thick regionally during the
Ah.
Aquino election. But yeah, kind of an honorary Bostonian. Corazon Aquino goes on to become the president of the Philippines.
All right. Interesting geopolitical background for season 4, episode 17, second time around. Tookie, can you tell us about the cold open?
Sure thing. It is the precursor to what is the B story for this episode. So we've got Cliff sauntering into the bar. Good evening, you lucky dogs and dogettes. And he's got an old school Tupperware where he says, inside this airtight container is a taste sensation second to none, Ma's homemade pretzels. And people, open the Tupperware and see them, and they're very misshapen. They're very struggled, if you will, very raggedy and mangled. And Norm says, yeah, they kind of look like they were made in a home, Cliff. And Cliff says, yeah, they're a little misshapen. Ma's arthritis made her hands stiffen up on her. And to which Norm replies, oh, well, that explains the smell of mentholanum. And Cliff feels kind of awkward upon hearing that and says, oh, here you go, Sam, chow down. They're completely organic, which I didn't realize organic food was a thing by that point in the 80s, but here we are. And so everybody's kind of chewing and gnawing and struggling through, and Cliff asks, so what word would you use to describe these babies? And Norm's like, filling. And Cliff's like, oh, okay, so they're filling. Norm's like, no, I just lost one. So fun little who's on first moment. And Cliff says, Norm, they're pretzels. They're supposed to be hard. And Cliff is like, well, all right. He's just watching everybody kind of struggle. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go share some of these pretzels with the guys in the back room there. Put a little salt and mustard on them, and you've really got something. And Sam's like, yeah, a lawsuit. So Woody turns to Sam and says, I need some water. I'm having trouble swallowing. And to which Sam replies, why are you trying? And Woody says, well, I figure it's either that or I have to take it out and look at it. Roll credits. So not quite a banger of a cold open, but at least it flowed with the rest of the episode.
It did. I enjoyed the cold open. I thought it was, not the most laugh out loud funny cold open, but it was definitely there and supported what is nominally the B story and is really more of a D story. It only exists, it's essentially the A story, which is often the Cheers model, which is the B story is not significant in any particular way. It's just an extra scene. So here it's the cold open and then one scene later where it means the world to Ma that you guys all love the pretzels. I don't mind telling you that she was so happy she broke down and cried, and no one had the heart to tell them how terrible they were, and they all were good friends and ate more awful pretzels.
Oof.
Which is the B story.
Couldn't be.
Yeah, it was a moment that made me very happy I couldn't have gluten. So many, like having celiac disease has been a gigantic pain in the ass, but it has made it so much easier to politely decline bad food.
That's a great point.
Yep. To just respectfully say, like, boy, I wish I could. Oh, it's a hard life.
I won't tell if you won't tell. It'll be our secret.
Hey, I mean, no one can know. I mean, because it's true, I can't have it. But they just don't know whether or not I would want to if I did not have celiac disease, because I do.
I've had to smile through some bad cookies in my life, and there's nothing more disappointing than a bad cookie.
It's not like the biting into an oatmeal raisin when you think it's chocolate chip kind of situation, is it?
It's more like you encounter that cookie and it's like it's it's like floury, it's crumbly, it's like it's got like scone consistency.
Ooh.
But
I feel like that's a particular danger in the world of theater as well, where like someone in the cast always wants to bake something and they bring it in and you kind of have to eat it. And I mean, they're actors, so that like very few of them have any kind of other marketable skill. So it's not going to be great food.
Oh,
yeah.
Poor thespians.
I will shout out right now, Richard Donnelly, local Rhode Island actor and plumber, by the way. So speaking of somebody with marketable skills, brilliant actor. Also, if you're ever in a show with him and you have a like a Sunday matinee, he'll show up with a Greg's carrot cake, with the understanding that carrot cake is somehow more healthy than a regular cake. So you can have carrot cake for an earlier day and not feel like a terrible human being. So shout out to Richard Donnelly for supplying carrot cake from a fine Rhode Island establishment, Greg's Bakery.
Big fan of Greg's, and Mr. Donnelly sounds like a lovely person. That being said, carrot cake, such a party foul.
Oh, love the carrot cake.
And good for you.
Carrot cake.
And I support your love. That being said, you don't bring a carrot cake for the group. That is a specific taste. It's all the calories of cake with carrots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, what if I had something that was just as bad for you and also included something you probably don't enjoy?
Well, I'll have you know, carrot cake is actually my mom's favorite, and it was the cake that was brought out during the anniversary party that was bodyguard themed.
Wow.
I love that. And they knew that your mother loved carrot cake. And if you're supplying carrot cake to someone who you know is a fan of carrot cake, what a treasure. What a joy. That being said, if you're going to a group with a cake, how dare you bring a carrot cake? Just bring cake. Like, oh my God, the gut punch of someone bringing in a box from Greg's, a huge box that carries something that could be amazing, and then it's a carrot cake.
Gentle, slightest hint of savory notes allows you to eat it before doing a 2-show day and not feel like you're a total piece of garbage.
You're just as sleepy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna. It's
not health food.
No, but there's a smoke screen. I can convince myself that this is better, even as I'm nodding off on stage in front of paying customers.
But if you're doing a play, haven't you already lied to yourself enough? Haven't we already practiced enough self-deception? Must we also do it with the carrot cake? That wasn't so bad for me.
The suspension of disbelief it doesn't just start at curtain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, all right. I'm sure he's a lovely man. I'm sure he's great. It's not an attack on him. It's an attack on the food. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get in.
It's only Tuesday, and it's the 4th time I've had my theater degree invalidated in front of me.
It is. Look, the theater degree is what it is. I'm just saying you can't double up with the carrot cake and the theater degree.
All right, fine.
Right?
Fine.
Thank you. All right, let's delve into the A story. We've covered the B story. The A story, Frasier-centric. We are starting with Lilith. Lilith's first appearance on Cheers, the amazing Bebe Neuwirth.
Yes.
Coming in and just crushing it.
Destroyed.
Crushing it.
It's like watching if Mariano Rivera was an opener.
Yeah. Great comp. And then Tilly comes in. It's if Mariano Rivera was the opener, and then, what if we bring in Pedro? What if Pedro takes the next 8? What if we did that?
Oh, so good.
Is
so
this
delightful.
Potentially like the peak of guest stars coming on to Cheers? Like, what a 1-2. Unbelievable. This is Spawn Insane pitching for the Boston Braves. It's incredible.
Just shouldering the work, putting on the narrow but eminently capable shoulders of Bebe Neuwirth and Jennifer Tilly.
My joke of the week is everything Lilith said. I couldn't pick.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick.
So
everything she said killed me. Everything killed me. It was so good.
I can't recall I'm sure there's probably an instance in other sitcoms, but where a character arrived as fully formed as Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. I guess Woody kind of does too. Maybe this is something that Cheers does really well, especially in terms of casting. But right out, there's no she doesn't have to find Lilith. There's no like Nick Offerman. Oh,
Nope.
season 2. Now I get who Ron is. Like, she comes in and is instantly recognizable if you've watched any of the later seasons.
Yes.
That like just note perfect.
Nope. It's amazing. Absolutely astounding. And all of this is happening, and Kelsey Grammer is also great in all of this, because my other joke of the week candidate, I shouldn't be using them all up for you guys, but when Lilith leaves talking about how bad the week is, Frasier comes out of the bathroom, asks Sam if he can use his office. He said, "What for?" "I'm going to weep."
Yep.
It's just amazing. Oh God, I love that moment. He's so great throughout it all, of somehow being very Frasier but still extremely likable. So all this is happening. Sam decides that he needs to be set up with someone really fun, and he calls in Candy, played by Jen Tilly. Jen Tilly comes in, starts flirting with Frasier, just seems really genuinely like not only an incredibly attractive woman, but super sweet, super fun. Starts flirting with Frasier. Frasier is excited, finds out that it's a setup, gets offended, starts saying that she should leave. She says, "Hey, I just think that you might be, thought you might be an interesting guy. He's interested in this." Says, "All right, well, maybe we should go out and grab a bite." They leave. They come back in the next scene. Says, "Welcome and meet Mrs. Frasier Crane." Turns out they're not officially married, but they are going to get married that day. They are getting married as soon as the Justice of the Peace gets there, which is fantastic. Diane is horrified. She has thought this was a bad idea the whole time. She is convinced that this is just an effort for Frasier to win her back. He says it is not. Everyone is worried about this. Now, actually, Diane is the only one genuinely worried about this. I take that back. Diane is, everyone else kind of goes on board with it, which is my 80s thing of the week, which is quick marriages. It was just something you accepted in the 80s. Like, all right, yeah, they're getting married. They just met, but they really like each other. And what else are you going to do? Not marry them? So Diane is trying to talk them out of it. There's a great moment where Woody is playing the music for the wedding, and it's Heart and Soul at different speeds. It's just great. They go into the office to talk about this. They close the most soundproof door in sitcom history to the office, and you can no longer hear the piano. They are discussing it. Diane is comparing Candy and Frasier to her and Sam and saying they're too different. This isn't going to work. They are debating. They're bickering back and forth. Sam is more supportive of it. Candy says, "Can I say something? Can I tell you what I think?" And Frasier says, "Candy, please, you were not put on this earth to think." She sits down, hurt. He says, "Oh my God, what have I done?" He begins apologizing profusely, and she's saying, "No, you're right. I didn't understand anything anyone was saying except for Sam." Great moment between Candy and Sam. You can tell Jennifer Tilly and Ted Danson had a lot of fun playing this week. They had a nice, fun vibe with each other. So they decide they are not going to get married. They are going to wait maybe even a full day. And they're going to leave. But Candy is still very interested in Frasier. Then there is a Sam and Diane moment that kind of comes out of nowhere. Where, all right, these people are already out there for a wedding. I guess it's up to us. Diane is taken aback, thinking that Sam is proposing. He's saying, "No, I just meant we needed to serve all of them drinks." Oh, of course. Then they have an interesting moment where Sam seems open to the idea of potentially getting married, saying, "Oh, that's the kind of answer I can't give without knowing the question. Maybe it would be easier to ask the question if I knew the answer." She said the answer would be no. He said, then the question is, "Yeah, have you ever met anyone who gave you the hots more than me?" Then my answer is yes. And the question is, "Do you want to go to bed with me?" And they said, "Would you ever not consider not going to bed with me?" Which was a funny end line. She's confused. End of scene. I just loved this week's episode. Just so many great performances, so many great lines, just joke after joke after joke. It was just rat-a-tat-tat.
Yeah.
Funny, laugh out loud lines. Interesting. I don't know, Dave, you often do the deep dive into this. This week's episode, directed by Thomas LaFaro.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to confirm, is this the first episode of Cheers directed by someone other than James Burrows?
I'm looking at season 4 right now, and it looks like it's Burrows all the way down except for this one.
Yep. That is all I could find. Every other director came in past 86. So it's LaFaro. I believe if this was his first episode, Then it was the first non-James Burrows episode, and what a banger for LaFaro to come in on.
Yeah, and
Real great.
Yeah.
Sherry Eichen and Bill Steinkellner. It's their second episode as credited as the lead writers for the season since episode 6. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday, the rare book episode. But this, yeah, like just like the jokes are like razor sharp, and the delivery, it just seems like everybody's kind of like on board this week. And maybe it's because they have such incredible performances kind of energizing the room with Bebe Neuwirth and Jennifer Tilly, giving depth to these, like, you could, with lesser actors, Lilith and Candy would be really pastiches, and they're not. They have depth this week, both of them. And you can kind of feel it kind of energize the whole episode, I think.
It is all great. Tookie, what were your feelings about this week?
Oh, this is easily, feminist icon Bebe Neuwirth, feminist icon Lilith Sternin Crane sometimes. I mean, all time, like one of my favorite sitcom characters ever. I love Lilith. And so to be present for her debut episode, I'm here for it. Automatic top 5 episode. I'm not sure where within the top 5, but I just know that it's within that bracket. And again, the writing was just joke dense, just packed, just zing, zing, zing. Couldn't really completely land on a joke of the official joke of the week, but I have 2, one of which I didn't even laugh out loud on, but the fact that it just made me crack a big grin, I was like,
Yeah, what are they?
So official joke of the week is everybody, when Frasier introduces Lilith, everybody meet Lilith Sternin, MD, PhD, EDD, APA. And Woody says, boy, it sure isn't spelled like it sounds. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then just the fact that Cliff wants to put a little bell on Carla. The first time he says, we should put a little bell on her. And I'm like, it's messed up, but I smiled.
And then the callback later on is just gold.
Doesn't have to be a big bell, just as long as we can hear it.
Yes. Love that.
Dave, you want to get your joke of the weekend here now?
Oh, sure. I'll give it to. I'll go with Jennifer Tilly's delivery of the line when she introduces herself as Candy, and Frasier says, "Oh, I see from your necklace, Candy with an I." And she said, "Well, I used to spell it with a Y, but nobody ever took me seriously. So then I switched it to an I. Like Gandhi."
Yeah, and then a beautiful follow-up. Yes, I understand. That's why he did it.
Just terrific.
So good. So good. Yeah.
I don't know. This is like a Jennifer Tilly superpower. Like, she plays. Like, so many of her characters, they are routinely underestimated, but they're also routinely incredibly smart and intuitive. Like like she's never somehow she avoids being the butt of the joke for the whole episode. And when Frasier snaps at her, he's the bad guy instantly and realizes it.
Yeah.
She manages to do this thing where she plays characters that could so easily be played dumb. And she kills it by being like, she turns on the genuineness up to an 11, where she's so genuine and so sincere in the things that she's saying. It's not that she's dumb. It's that she doesn't operate on any level of irony. Yeah. She doesn't operate on any level of sarcasm. These are the words. And if I'm saying them, I mean them. And I'm taking you literally. Whatever. And I'm just taking your tone exactly the way that you're delivering it to me. And somehow it keeps everyone that she's playing from ever being beneath anybody.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And like, she and Bebe Neuwirth are both like completely devoid of subtext. It's really interesting to see them both in the same episode play it, different styles, but like both absolutely are saying exactly what those characters are thinking at any given moment.
Yep. While at the same time, Lilith is pushing everyone away and Candy is welcoming everybody in. It's arms away, arms open. But coming from a very similar place of I don't need to say what I'm going to say exactly what I'm thinking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The entire exchange at the bar with between Frasier and Lilith. It's like, why can't all writing be like that for sitcoms?
Yeah. It's great. And you could tell they were just like, we need to bring her back. This is
Yeah.
great. This is perfect. Look at these two. Just fireworks. Oh my God, these two are amazing together. We've got to write another episode with the two of them. And the episode where she comes back is unbelievable.
Is that
It's
next season
so
or this
great.
season still?
I don't know. I should have looked that up. I'm not
Yeah.
sure when her next episode is.
Damn.
But it's absolutely killer.
Yeah.
I
We
think
gotta
it's
get to
next season because we're episode 17.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we're going to see Lilith again this season.
no, I'm almost positive it's season 5 because you can just tell from the writing this was not a character that was ever supposed to come back.
Right.
And they're so great together that like, all right, we got to write another episode we got to bring her back. And at episode 17, you don't have enough time to write another episode in there that season because they've got so much that they have to do starting pretty soon, where they've got the arc that they know that they're doing with the councilwoman and the proposal and all that stuff. So yeah, I would say 99% sure that's got to be next season.
Something that Cheers does, and they definitely lean into it this week, and they really lean into it with Lilith, is letting the camera linger on somebody after a joke's been delivered, especially or especially when it's like a Coach or a Woody, somebody says something that's like surprising because it's phrased interestingly or from a place of naivete, and the camera just hangs with BB Newirth so many times as she processes what people like Sam and Woody say to her, and it's like they it's like they're speaking another language that she understands, but at the same time, like it doesn't, like it just throws her into like the throes of like hold on, like she just needs like an extra second to slow down to get to their level. And it's delightful to watch every time.
And it just juices every joke that they tell that she's a part of. Her being a part of it, her being the recipient of the joke line, just kicks it up another notch. It's great. It's absolutely great. Yep.
Why didn't she ever do more? I mean, well, I don't know if you guys watched The Flight Attendant on HBO Max. She was in the first season of that. And that was the first time I'd seen her in God knows. And I'm like, why doesn't she? I mean, I know she was also a Broadway legend.
She does work. It's just she pops up in stuff and she does a lot of theater. She was just in the first season of Julia on HBO Max too.
Oh, really?
Did not see that.
Very fun.
But I'm like, I want her to be in everything.
Yeah, she's great. I remember when I saw her playing when she was doing Chicago. Was she Vilma or Roxy? She was Vilma, right?
I would think she was Velma.
Yeah, she was Vilma, and it was a big thing that they were reviving it, and that BB Newirth was doing Chicago on Broadway, and she was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and they did all that jazz number. I was like, who is this? I mean, she was just doing something so great and so different that it was almost hard to reconcile that was Lilith.
Range.
Yeah,
the range is unmatched.
But I think that's it. She did a lot of theater. She did a lot of musicals. I think she was like potentially, I don't want to swear to this, but I've heard she owned a piece of the revival of Chicago, which has run forever. So I think there's potentially a factor of, all right, I've got all this money coming in. I can do whatever I want. And I'm just taking stuff that sounds fun.
Respect.
But if you ever look, like she pops up in stuff a lot. You kind of go, oh, is she in like 10 this what's it, Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson romance? Yeah, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Like she's in that. And they're wasting her, but she's in it.
See, that's the issue. They're wasting her.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that she's ever had something built around her correctly, or maybe she just never wanted that. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, she chose to leave Cheers early. You know, she was so popular, they made her a series regular, and then I think she chose to not be a regular on the cast anymore. And just saying, okay, I want to keep going on and doing other stuff.
A choice. I respect it. I mean, she wants to make her art. We can't stop her.
And you never know anyone's true story.
Right.
Yeah. So who knows? But let's just enjoy what we're about to embark on with Lilith Sternin.
More Lilith.
So good. Dave, what was your 80s thing of the week?
This was a week that I kind of struggled to find a ton of 80s stuff. For me, nothing totally jumped out. I guess I'll go with like the idea of manic depressive, because the idea that manic depression could be funny. It seemed like we had just entered into the era of being able to name these psychological diseases, in a very more specific ways, and they feel jargon-esque, and therefore like they can be kind of like playful at this time. But I think like now it just, as the kids say, it hits different.
Yeah. Yep. Good call. Tookie, your 80s things.
Wait, did you name one?
I did. Getting married quickly.
But that's right. Okay.
Which I have referenced in the past, but I feel like it's very 80s.
It's so shot
from the 90s on. That just didn't happen in TV shows and movies anymore.
Yeah.
That idea of, all right, we got married today because we met and liked each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things. So mentholatum for arthritis leapt out at me. Mullet guy. There's the guy with a serious mullet in the cold open sitting next to, I believe, Norm's right. Carla calling Frasier a yutz. Oh, here's a fun thing. Frasier is a French name that comes from the word for strawberry. Which I happen to be allergic to, but that's, fun little tidbit. Okay. Nighttime Wheel of Fortune. Norm mentions that. And I'm like, hasn't it always been at nighttime? But apparently I guess it was yeah.
Right. That's right.
So I was like, huh? So Nighttime Wheel of Fortune, knowing which day a specific People magazine comes out, because they do mention that. Heart and Soul is now corny as a song, because I guess it wasn't at one point, but like this is the era in which that song becomes corny. And the mention of a Posturepedic mattress.
Is that truly 80s?
I don't remember them being a thing after a certain point in my very early childhood in the 90s.
All right.
So that's the list this week.
I'll get on board with that.
Cool.
Tookie, how white was this week's episode?
Oh boy, we are on a decline. I don't know what's going on with the extras casting. Okay, scene 1, there was a black woman and a black man behind Woody at the bar. Scene 2, a man of color. I'm not sure his ethnicity. He could have been Latino. Who is like at the way back wall, a black man and a black woman next to, like sitting under Geronimo, and then a repeat from scene 1, also the man of color whose ethnicity I'm not sure of. So 2 repeats, 2 new people. Scene 3, there was a black man behind Norm, an Asian man at the top of the bar next to Cliff who was kind of floating around, a black woman at the back of the bar. Scene 4, 5 reused extras, including another man of color who was sitting at the upper booth and a black woman who came down the stairs of Melville's. And then scene 5, the same extras recycled again. So we've got like 1, 2, from those 5, 7 total people. Yeah, it's not great. A lot of repeats this week in terms of background extras rather than like hiring new people to float around.
Interesting, because I was not great at catching repeats. I wasn't watching as closely, and it felt like a more diverse episode this week. I felt like I was catching a lot more, but I guess they were reusing the same actors a lot.
Excuse me. Yeah.
The Asian actor kind of tucked up. He was tucked up so close to Norm at one point. I was actually kind of excited. I was like, oh, he's in kind of like a prime like line spot. I thought maybe there was going to be some dialogue. Maybe it was something that was cut or whatever. But I was disappointed that he didn't get a little feature.
Two nice things I did notice. One, I feel like all the actors of color were dressed really well this week. Like,
always
some great style. I like it eye-catching this week. And there was one interracial couple.
Yeah.
At the table, which made me happy. I was like, oh, 86. There we go.
Well, were they my parents?
They might have been. Was there a big hunk of carrot cake on the table?
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Something to look for.
The carrot cake thing makes me think my dad must have read that weird, like 19th century passage from a novel. Like, you may fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese. Like, if you find whatever that a woman enjoys, that you may fascinate her with it. And my dad discovered that that's carrot cake.
And I would like to stress again, if you enjoy carrot cake, more power to you. I do not food shame. My advice is for the masses, which is you don't bring a carrot cake to a gathering.
I feel like you're underestimating the appeal of carrot cake.
I feel like you're underestimating some's distaste of carrot cake. If it's requested, great. Gun to my head, even if it was a gluten-free carrot cake, I would then have to pretend I had Crohn's. I'm not eating carrot cake. I'm not doing it.
Maybe maybe this is like a remnant of my like sort of Brooklyn Jewish family. Like to me, it feels like a very like safe bet would be a carrot cake. Like that would be the thing I would bring. Like, but like again, like maybe it lives in the same mental category as like pickled herring or something, where I assume the whole world likes this, and in fact it's only a very narrow slice of people that I grew up with.
I think he lives in the exact same house as pickled herring.
Oh no.
Not even.
No. I gotta stop you there. I gotta stop you there. No, there's something wholesome about carrot cake.
I am a believer, if you're going to bring cake, my philosophy, you go full chocolate, because it's just got a tremendous universal appeal. You go full chocolate, or you go golden cake chocolate frosting. Big believer in the golden cake and the chocolate frosting, because it makes people who love chocolate happy. And if you don't happen to like chocolate, you can get rid of the frosting and you can still have cake.
Frosting is such a, it's dicey. Because good frosting, yeah.
I'm sorry, wait a minute. You're shoving carrot cake down people's throats and you're saying frosting is dicey?
Because with carrot cake, if you get like a really good cream cheese frosting, it makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
And with any kind of cake, of like a really well-made buttercream frosting, none of that like plasticky stuff that you get at the grocery store, frosting is a very tricky thing to pull off.
So wait a minute. Now we're bringing cakes without frosting at all because frosting is dicey?
No, it's not that the cake wouldn't have frosting. It's just a matter of...
Frostingless vegetable cake based people are you?
What?
You can't even get it out. You're just bringing in these hunks of vegetable-based bakery goods with no frosting. You're like, here, everyone loves this.
Did you just have a conniption, Mike?
Because it's controversial.
No, we're bringing the cake with the frost, but we're paying extra attention to the quality. Like, you can elevate a decent cake with a good frosting, but you can destroy a good cake with subpar frosting.
Absolutely.
But this is my argument for the golden cake with a tremendous frosting.
But not everybody's going to find chocolate, and if sometimes the chocolate flavor permeates the golden cake flavor.
It's not syrup. You're cutting it off. If you have to.
I'm just saying.
No, it doesn't permeate like the carrots.
No, the carrots are
everywhere.
The screams are coming from inside the house. The carrots come from inside the cake, right?
Screams are coming from me when you bring carrot cake to my house.
But I'm saying, like, you can get away. You can get away with chocolate cake with vanilla frosting easier than a golden cake with chocolate frosting because chocolate is such an overpowering flavor.
Which is why I led with chocolate cake.
I guess.
All right, this is for both of our viewers. Please trust me. Please don't bring a carrot cake to a gathering.
Who hurt you, Mike?
They're gonna talk. You're gonna have to stay the whole time because if you leave early, they're gonna talk about you.
Who hurt you? Wait, what did someone do?
Person who brought carrot cake hurt me, Tookie.
Okay, all right.
Tookie, what's your opinion? This is Mike. I know exactly what your response is to this. What's your opinion on raisins in the carrot cake?
Hell the fuck no.
Okay.
Oh, that's a lot of spicy language for Facebook. I just realized I think I used up our swear meter.
That was it
for this episode. Raisins in a carrot cake. It's not that it's an abomination. It is just absolutely not for me.
Are you generally anti-raisin?
For the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to be in a real specific kind of mood to enjoy a raisin. Like the banana bread must banana before and there's got to be walnuts before I add in the raisins.
If someone brings a carrot cake with raisins to your house, to me, that's saying they bought themselves a cake. They bought a cake for them to eat and not have anyone else share, and then for them to take home again.
You have just outlined what the next 20 years of my entertaining.
Here, I brought you this prescription that was made out to me.
It's not an orthopedic shoe, it's a cake.
I brought you this thing that I can eat with a fork out of the box because nobody else wants it.
Happy housewarming. Here are some towels with my initials on them.
No.
Oh
my God.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. Any final thoughts about this week's episode? It's funny, like the really good ones, I almost feel like there's not as much to say other because we just praised them.
Yeah.
I liked leaning into Diane's judginess. That was like a fun flavor. That kind of positioning her as the sort of heavy in the episode was, I thought, kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't feel forced. It didn't like it. That seems to open stuff up a little bit for them when they can kind of lean into that flip side of Diane.
It felt appropriate, and it also felt on some level true to Diane that she would not want Frasier to have somebody before she had somebody. She is someone who needs to win the breakup.
Mm-hmm. And he calls her out on it, and she tells him to stop being a psychologist. That was I loved that interchange. It wasn't funny, but I was like, oh, this is actually there's some real thought behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, Diane, you know what? I always seem to forget just how secretly competitive she is about the weirdest stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Diane needs to win.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always forget that detail. So you're right. I see what you mean in terms of winning the breakup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is a need that will bring you nothing but sadness.
Yeah.
Which, again, coalesced beautifully in the line when the Justice of the Peace asked, does anybody have any objections? Diane says, I do. And Frasier says, right words, wrong wedding.
Right.
Another great line. God, there's so many good jokes in this episode.
That was a really just
great one.
Well-placed callback to their whole saga, too.
So great. Yeah,
So
this episode really, just sits nicely in this season in so many ways.
Yep.
Yeah. The writers are... Oh, go ahead.
What's to come with Sam and Diane at the end?
Okay. I say let them bone once more. Get it out their system.
Mm-hmm.
Call it quits.
If they had done that, would they have had the whole will they, won't they... propose, no, then spends the whole next season with Diane thinking that they're going to get married. If they had just gotten one more time.
See, that's where, okay, if it was a terrible time, then no.
Mm.
So if the boinking was good, then we'd have to sit through another season of their shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
So let them bump the uglies one more time,
Mm-hmm.
and it just be terrible.
I don't think they're capable of having bad sex together.
Hmm.
This episode would have
Yeah.
you believe that like that was really the glue. Like it really is on some level like a pure physical
Mm.
chemical attraction between them.
Yeah. This attraction that they absolutely cannot deny when they are together. And that part of their relationship is so good, it just like basically spackled over all the other problems, all the other cracks.
And there were some cracks.
Mm-hmm.
In the words of the late great Whitney Houston, crack is whack.
God bless you, Whitney. All
Her
right.
voice.
Before we put her to bed.
What? Are you
Any
frozen?
before we
Oh.
put them to bed.
No, just more Lilith.
More Lilith, and
Yeah.
they will come through in season 5. Yeah, we are coming up fast upon the Kate Mulgrew arc. Admiral Janeway is about to become a love interest for Sam. Good to have her on board.
I don't know if I know this character.
Oh, so Kate Mulgrew plays Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. So Trevor might be very interested in the last couple of episodes of this season.
We haven't done Voyager yet. We haven't done the Voyager yet. Don't.
I never got into Voyager. I was really kind of just the next generation in the movies.
Okay.
Voyager I tried to get into, but so with Voyager it was always like, oh, are they going to manage to get home this week? No, because then the series is over.
Oh.
It was a little like Fugitive as a series, where it's like, are they going to find him this week? No, because then the series is over.
Oh. Well, that's no fun.
But some people love Voyager, so what do I know? There are people who adore Voyager.
Did you ever get Deep Space Nine?
Not so much.
Okay.
It's weird. I loved Commander Sisko.
Yeah.
I didn't like the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast left me very cold.
Even what's his face with the ears?
Yes.
Quark.
Yes.
What about Worf 2.0?
I had Worf. Worf felt like when you add a baby in season 7. Like, to me, nothing screamed, this show doesn't quite work more than, what if we bring in Worf? Because you love Worf.
Okay. All right. All right.
Although I wish they had brought in Worf instead of Oliver in later seasons of the Brady Bunch. I think that would have made that show unbelievably compelling.
Yeah.
Oliver.
Cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch?
No.
Yeah. I did a podcast with him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Many moons
Really?
ago, a friend's podcast. Yeah, he's a great guy. Robbie, and I'm blanking on his last name. But yeah, he's just kind of like, he's just known for being brought onto this beloved show as a character everyone hated. It's tough. That's your big credit.
Yeah, well,
It wasn't his fault. He was a cute kid, but it was so clear, like, all right, the older kids are 30.
Oh.
Like, the youngest kids are all like, 14. What if we bring in another cute little kid who could be the new Bobby? Yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
That feels wrong.
Oh, yeah, it was wrong.
That feels very wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
That was DiCaprio in Growing Pains too, right?
It was.
Mm.
Growing Pains did it twice. They had a baby and they added an urchin.
Oh, I don't remember the baby.
The baby, Chrissy. Because they had the 3 Seaver kids.
Sure.
They had Kirk Cameron, and they had Tracy Gold, and they had the blonde kid. And then they added a baby later on, and then they added later on DiCaprio.
Huh.
Yeah, Growing Pains.
I never got into DiCaprio, even in his younger days, because he just he's got like this wide face that I don't like.
Mm. Well, he can't help his face, Tookie.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, for me, I didn't like it.
That's way more negative than I would expect from Tookie Kavanaugh.
I know. I'm sorry. It's the same with my gripe with what Ryan Gosling. I'm sure he's a lovely man.
Mm-hmm.
From the neck down, excellent. But from the face up, very much embodies his surname.
You're saying you think he might actually have a goose parentage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey,
It's like, you know how like people's surnames are their occupation. Cooper, Baker, etc. Usain Bolt, the fastest guy ever. This guy just looks like aquatic fowl to me.
I love the idea that his job is to be a goose.
Yes. He's a nice goose, I'm sure. But same with DiCaprio. DiCaprio just looks like he looks like a drawing of a frog prince come to life in my mind. Like it's just like there's something anthropomorphically amphibious about him that I'm just not into.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Popular opinions this week.
I know.
I hope the crowd has your back on Carrot Cake, because I don't envision a ton of Gosling ugly support.
He's not. I never said that. I'm just saying.
Unless you're telling me that you find fowls wildly attractive.
No.
Then I rest my case.
I never said that. I never called him the U word. I don't think he's a bad looking guy. He's just not he's not my cup of chai. And he looks more avian than I would prefer in a human male.
Okay.
He's not down with that.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well played.
Thank you.
Well played. All right. On that note, anything to plug this week, folks?
Oh. Dave, you go ahead.
Yeah. I'm doing Improv Jones will be playing Rhode Island's longest running improv troupe will be playing Saturday night at Kismet Improv Theater in the 7:30 slot, I believe. So yeah, if you find yourself in Pawtucket, and sorry if that happens to you, but if that does happen to you, you can come down and have a good time.
As a child of North End Street, I am not offended. Tookie, anything to plug?
I'll be at the studio this Saturday, Comedy Studio at Vera's in Somerville. It is their final show of the season until they reach their new location.
Nope, one more week.
Is there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Well, it's my final show there before the new location.
You're on the penultimate show. With I.
Yes. See you then.
See you there.
Oh, that's a double bill right there.
How can you beat it?
It's gonna be a hoot.
And a nanny. All right. For this week's episode, I'm Mike. That's Dave. That's Tookie. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Come out and catch a show.